Hi, and welcome to Georgina Blooms. I'm Kathy Bruce, your host, and we are in the grow place of Barb and Bob Platt. We're going to talk about seeds because you've seen their garden, and Barb grows all of that from seed. You just won't want to miss it. A ton of really good tips. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And joining me is Barb Platt, the gardener extraordinaire, especially seed starter. You've seen how huge Barb and Bob Platt's vegetable garden is. And this is where it all starts. Because Barb, you pretty well grow everything out there in your garden.
Most things.
Is from seed.
Yep.
And Barb's very good at experimenting with.
I do experiment. Every year I experiment on something.
Well,
whether it's a new type of flower, a new vegetable, a new spot.
Yep.
I'm always experimenting.
And successful. Well, we see the successes. Yeah. So we're going to start with, last week we did container gardening and talked about the seeds that are perfect for growing in a container. You do a few, but for the most part, you're growing for a big honkin' garden.
Yes.
And I love, Barb has a way and means of collecting seeds and storing them. And was this a sewing kit?
Yeah, something like that. Some kind of kit.
Yeah.
And this is after they're all completely dried. I make sure everything's dry, but this is how I organize it. So, and I kind of have my veggies in one spot here, flowers and my herbs, and just try to keep things a little organized so I know what I'm doing. And then as I plant them, I put the seed packets in another container, and then I know what I've already started.
And this is what happens when you've done it for a number of years. I would only have this. So, because this year I'm growing more than I used to, and
yep.
This is meant to encourage you to grow something, whether it's a vegetable or a flower. Excuse me, just grow something. But because it is simple.
Yes.
And Barb also collects her own seeds.
I do. So I do have these handy dandy containers, but one important fact is the seeds have to be completely dry before you close them up in a container.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll get mold growing.
Right.
So I leave them out in dishes probably for a couple of weeks after I've taken them from the plants, after they've dried.
And we'll probably do a show on collecting seeds in the fall.
And these ones here from the tomato plants that we grow, we literally, when we're slicing a tomato, scoop out some of the seeds, spread them on the napkin. They probably sit out for about a week or two, and then I just put them in the Ziploc bag. And I always label, I always put the date.
Perfect. And that's how we've done tomato seeds from your tomatoes.
And I always take the best of the best, like the sweetest tomato, the juiciest tomato. Largest.
If you're going to grow any vegetable at all, nothing beats a garden fresh tomato. You're already tasting it when you cut into it. The smell is awesome. The sweetness is amazing. And if you don't really like tomatoes, you haven't had a fresh from the garden one. So grow what you eat, what you like to eat, or experiment with stuff. Containers for growing things vary right across the board. Barb has a number of them here, and we'll show you those. But what you'll see in a store are usually these, our little packs of peat.
Yeah, I think they're like, we
Peat
call them peat
pots.
pots, yeah.
And if you're going to use those, you soak that because the,
Here, I can actually show them how to do it.
okay.
So what I would do is, I've got my seed starting mix here. You just get them at a hardware store.
And Barb has this is her handy dandy
The old tub.
plant bin.
So I'd fill it up like that. Fill it with water, let it sit for probably a couple of hours
Yeah.
till it's completely saturated. And then I would put the seed into the soil, cover it up, and
And
probably
let-
give a little spray mist.
Perfect. So the water's just going to capillary up,
Yeah.
and we'll come back to that at the end of the show as well. We have a egg carton here. Now, when Barb and I talked, egg cartons are pretty small, so you don't want to plant anything that's going to doesn't like its roots disturbed, or a plant will not be in here very long.
No.
It's great for kids, and I would do flowers
Yeah.
and possibly leave half an egg, like when you crack an egg, put the egg half back in here, and then put soil and the seed.
Yeah.
And then you can hopefully remove it a lot easier. But this too, because it's a cardboard, if you put soil in here and moisten up the soil, this is going to, unless you soak this is going to wick away the water out of the soil.
Right.
So always think of that, of what container you're using. If it's a peat pot or cardboard, soak this as well, or do it like Barb has there, because you want the seed to be in good moist soil. Egg cartons are great for little guys.
Yeah, and marigolds. I've got some marigold seeds in there. I haven't started yet, but
Okay.
they're dried from last year. And just to show you what it looks like, I snip them off the plant in the fall before the frost comes and when the buds are dry. You literally pull it apart, and there's your marigold seeds. Each one of these is a seed,
Perfect.
so they would be perfect for even kids to do, plant marigolds.
Stay tuned. We've got more. Welcome back. And when we left off, Barb had just opened up the little seed pod with marigold seeds, and those would be perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
For, especially for little guys to, get them hooked on planting something and watching it grow. And they don't take very long.
They come up quick.
Yeah, and you can, they take abuse very well, I know. I've abused a few in my time. But when you buy, whatever seeds you buy, they all, as I've said many, many times before, the back of the package is your best friend and educator. It gives you all the information you need for growing. And if you still have questions, you can go online or send me a note and I'll ask Barb.
Yeah.
Before we talk about other containers, if the soil that you need for seeds, period, is a soil-less mix. Soil comes with bacteria and fungus and all that can kill seedlings. So you want a soil-less mix for seedlings. And once they're a little bigger, you're good to go for putting other stuff. So you have a number of other.
Yeah, sometimes I use these cell packs. A lot of times I do this for the tomatoes because I do so many different types of tomatoes.
So many.
So, and I do have them, I like them separate like this because I might do a variety of different tomatoes in here. So I might have like you know, beefsteak in this, plum in here, Amish paste in here, and they all do sprout at different times. So as they sprout, I can take them out from underneath the dome, because once you've filled them, put your seed in, moisten them. You're going to have a dome over the top to keep the soil moist. But once they sprout, you're going to want to take them out and then put directly under the lights.
And
then I'd be watering from there.
right. And watering from the bottom, if you can, is
better.
probably the
Yeah.
best. And there's a new thing that I found I found this at Walmart this year. It's called a self-watering greenhouse. And what makes it self-watering is that it sits on a mat that you wet. And thanks, Barb. So this is what you get, and this is the dome. These are the pucks, and underneath is a felt mat, and you put the water in here. The felt mat touches these sides. It gets really, really wet, and when this is on top, the water it's capillary action. The water is absorbed in these because there are little holes. And so you see the felt is coming through. That would be wet felt coming through. And it keeps your plants nice and moist. And you don't, if you're going away, which we did, this is 100% cotton felt, and there are about 4 layers here. I used one of these, cut this to fit, wet it really, really well, and then put my pucks on top. And after, it didn't need watering for about 6 days. And I had the dome on top. Now the pucks, this is what they look like without water. And when you're going to plant, you fill this all up with water. They'll soak and absorb water. I separate out the little mesh thing, make my little hole with a toothpick, put my seed in, and then just lightly cover it, again with the toothpick. And then I'm good to go. But this will expand to that, which is great.
I think we had one here. You can see how the seedlings pop up.
So the other thing, these are what kind of?
These are your black hollyhocks.
So as you can see, not all of them have sprouted, but the nice thing about these is I can take this out and put it in another container under lights. And as each of these sprouts, I can, either keep it covered. Now I can take these out, put them under lights, and cover the rest in the hopes of them sprouting. And you can take a container like this and put it on top of the wet felt as well. This works so well, I'm going to do this all the time.
And you don't always have to buy, like these are from fast food containers. I keep everything just in case.
There are holes on the bottom for drainage. You have a number of them here, salad containers.
Salad from your spinach and your lettuce, and they have the lids on them, so when I'm trying to sprout.
Well, here, I'll take this one out. This is lobelia.
And so when I plant the seeds, you want to put a cover on top to keep it moist until they sprout. Once they sprout, you want to remove the lid so you don't start getting mold, but you're going to keep watering it every day. And then you just slide that underneath to catch any water. And these containers, I've all put holes in the bottom. Yep.
And you spray the top?
I do. And I haven't sprayed today, so they look like they need a little misting. The reason I mist these as opposed to watering is because they're so small, I don't want them to float away.
Okay.
Like the bigger plants, I will water with a watering can.
Right.
But the smaller ones, I'll just mist like this.
Okay. And one of the other things that Barb has and does is use these. I've never used these.
Yeah, sticky sticks. Where have I got one here? Right here.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get those little gnats flying around.
Stupid little flies.
Yeah, and I don't know where they come from, but they like yellow. So they're attracted to them, and then this is super sticky.
Yeah.
So they just get stuck to them.
This is a great idea, and you've got them kind of in different
Different spots.
Do you use these outside as well?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so these are kind of in hardware stores.
Hardware stores, yeah. Garden
centers. Perfect.
Big box stores.
Yeah, yeah. Now the other thing so setting up lights, these are shop lights.
They're shop lights, yeah, fluorescents.
Yes. And this is a stand that you can purchase at Lee Valley, or Bob and Barb have created their own. And this works so well. And these lights are hanging on chains.
So I can lift them up.
I know, but
down.
they're hard to lift up and down. So behind you at the bottom is what Barb does.
Yeah.
For getting little plants close to the lights.
So if I didn't, this way I don't have to be going up and down with the lights.
She's got it sitting on top of
a container.
Right. And so if you have tall plants and short plants, using a stand for them to bring them up to the light. Now you're not, putting your lights on a big slanty
That's what I
thing.
do up there. There's
On the ones
one there.
in the back.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
And the lights, I usually try and do a mix of cool white and warm white.
And 14 to 16 hours a day.
Right.
Or a super, super sunny window. And you have to make sure that you turn them all the time so that they're all going to do this to the sun. But anyway, when we come back, we'll show you about, doing this to the sun. Please stay tuned.
This program is brought to you in part by Georgina Garden Center. Plants, landscape design, construction, maintenance, and more. Georgina Garden Center, where expert staff are happy and ready to share their knowledge. Visit us at ggconline.ca for more information.
Welcome back. And we were talking about lights, having plants at the sunlight. If you have them at the window, and I turn this sideways, guess which way the sun was coming. So if you have it facing the window this way, you want to turn it so that it'll grow back to face the sun again. And you do that daily.
I do that daily, yeah.
This is a coleus. And the nice thing about coleus is that these are from the fall.
They're from the fall. I put them in pots. I put them in fresh soil so I didn't bring any bugs in.
Right.
But I dug them up before. No, actually, I took snippings, rooted it, and then put it in fresh soil.
Yeah.
But I took them before the frost.
Yeah, because
yeah.
they go nasty after frost. So all through the winter, they're growing.
Right.
And they're doing really, really well. So Barb cuts them back and just roots.
I'll show you one here.
Yeah.
They root really easily. And these I'll just put in little pots. I just haven't gotten around to it, but they again will go in little pots like these.
Yep. And I'm just going to grab Barb's got coleus under the lights. So the coleus under the lights are going to grow straighter because the light's coming from above, but they're both in great shape. So a south-facing sunny window. I have mine on a southwest window, and they're not this great, so I need to put them under lights. But look at the color, just beautiful. And this is under lights, and coleus is typically a shade plant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lights, very important. And as I'm putting this back, these are old cooking trays that these plants are sitting in. So anything that will hold water, any tray, an old cookie sheet, anything that'll hold water will be good for this. And you water from the bottom.
Yep.
Always water from the bottom. So, which means just putting water in the bottom of the tray, and the plants will absorb it up through the soil. So, yeah.
And these I will keep snipping right till the spring or till summer. I'll keep snipping them, sticking them in water.
And you can see here, if Barb cuts it, you cut it just above the leaf. It's already got another. Oh, you're going to
do one. Yeah,
do
we'll
it
do one.
live.
Do it live. There we go.
Perfect.
So that'll just sprout.
Yeah, it's already sprouting.
Yep. And then I'll probably remove a few of the leaves. You don't need all this.
Nope.
And just stick it in.
So if you started this in the fall, all through the winter, you can keep cutting it back and making more. And Barb's going to pass along some of these to the plant sale for the garden club.
Definitely.
I think we all are. And you have one more very cool little thing for your grandchildren.
Well, yeah, I just thought for this Easter, instead of giving a lot of chocolates and candies and stuff, I just went to actually the dollar store, picked up these containers in a pot, and I packaged a few little sunflower seeds.
Aw.
Packaged them up some soil.
Are these your sunflower
Those
seeds?
are, yeah.
Of course
And
they are.
and they can put the soil in, plant them themselves, water them, look after them, take care of them, and eventually plant them out in the garden.
That's such a good idea. Instead of chocolate, but you do have chocolate.
Well, one, you have to have one.
Very, very cool. And if you, I think you should try at least one type of vegetable. And you have more than enough time to start now.
Yeah, I'm starting my tomatoes this week.
Perfect. And our last frost is May 1st, or May 20th, between May 10th and 20th.
Yeah.
And so you count back 6 or 8 weeks for that, and that's when you plant seeds. I thank you very much for your generosity of pulling stuff out and
always
having
lots of
us
fun.
in your home, inside, because I know we've done a number of shows outside. And this is a real treat. So you will see all of these things in Barb and
Outside.
Bob's garden. Yeah, loaded with fruit.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for joining us. Try just one package of seed and see how far you get. It's not hard, and it's so worth it. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Bye for now.